Hey, welcome back. We are going to pursue now Yoga Sutra 2.9, which is the next sutra in giving us the definitions of the causes of suffering. So today we'll be discussing Abhinivesa, which is fear of not going on being, fear of death, fear of annihilation, fear of exposure, fear of alienation, right? The fear that we will not have a sense of belonging, acceptance, or wholeness, and the fear of, as we said, death, the fear of dying. So let's start with the chant to Patanjali. We'll begin with that so we can give recognition and honor to the author of the sacred text from which we are still benefiting today. So as you sit upright, go ahead and settle in. Find your center line, your spine. Lengthen up through the crown of your skull and root down into your seat, into your hips and your pelvis. And as the breath helps to bring you back home to the present moment, now raise your hands to your heart. And on behalf of Sri Patanjali, Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Chavaijakena Yopakarottam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. We've already learned about the causes of suffering, that there is avidya, so that is not knowing our deepest nature or living in ignorance of our true nature. And then asmita, that sense of having the ego that must be defended, protected, decorated. It's very preoccupying because we mistake ourselves to be this ego going through life rather than recognizing the larger presence that is us and is coming through us. So that sense of asmita causes things like loneliness and separateness and a feeling of isolation, or sometimes a feeling of inauthenticity also because we're trying to be something that people expect us to be or want us to be. And then when that feels like it's failing, we may have this abhinivesa, the fear of being exposed or the fear of being found out somehow as an imposter, for example. The other experience you may have with that sense of ego is it's going so well that you feel like it must go on, and so you have raga, clinging, wanting that to continue as it is, or we become like a very driven to have a certain specific way of being, a certain outcome in our life, and sometimes at the exclusion of seeing life as it is. It's not a problem to have motivation or direction or purpose, but we want to keep our view, our perspective wide, because this is not the only thing to be noticing in life, that which we're pursuing, which would be like raga. And sometimes for that asmita, the character that we are going through our life, we experience dvesha, resistance, hatred, sometimes self-hatred, criticism of the self, but also resistance to pain or suffering in life. It's very natural that our species has this resistance. Otherwise we wouldn't survive, so we have to resist. We feel like it's too cold, I should find a way to make fire, or it's too hot, I should be able to get into the shade. So naturally there's a primitive instinct for craving and resisting, and that's not a problem. It's when it becomes the extremes that we experience it as a dilemma. With abhinivesa, I know that fear and anxiety are really pervasive in our world and have been, since time immemorial. But modern fears are things like fear of flying, right? Fear of heights and so on. And the fear in that is the fear of not existing, the fear of death, the fear of like sudden loss of everything, like a fear of a spider. What if it bites you? What's going to happen, for example? But here in the Yoga Sutras, this fear is fear of death. It means clinging to life as it's been. This is a little bit more of a complicated sutra. It's not as easy as the last two, 2.7 and 2.8. So the word Abhinivesa will be the last word in the sutra, as you have found out with other discussions. Sometimes it seems like the sutra is written backwards, so the last word is Abhinivesa, and it's being defined by the other words in the sutra. So we start with Sva Rasa Vahi. Sva Rasa Vahi, which means flowing along in its own momentum. So flowing along in its own current, right? And then Vidusha, which means a wise person. And you'll hear the word vid in vidya, which means wisdom. And avidya means the absence of wisdom, the first cause of suffering. It means we are ignorant of that which we are. So vidusha is the wise person, the person who's resting in that inner wisdom. And then you'll hear api and tata. So it means even the same way, even those in this condition. Api, tata, even, tata, the same way. And then you're going to hear arudaha, and that means firmly established, to be firmly established. And so as we're looking at this, and then the last word is abhinivesa, so you might wonder, well, what does that mean? How can that be? And so what it means is, as you're flowing along in life, of course, the clinging to life, the love of life exists even in wise people, and naturally the fear of death can be there. So abhinivesa can be translated as either clinging to life or fear of death. And so it's natural in life to want it to go on. And for those of us who live a certain amount of time with a certain amount of wisdom, we ultimately come to see that that which is larger than us, that which is not ephemeral, is not coming and going, that presence from which we were born and to which we return, that is with us always. And we also come to know that everything dies, as it were. Said by many poets over the years, everything that we have loved will also fade. It will also pass on in its impermanent state. So, okay, let's see how we can do. You're welcome to sit quietly, and we'll try each word 4 times, and then we'll try putting a couple words together. Svarasavahi, 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 Svarasavahi. Okay, that was 8 times. I got compelled, right? Now the wise person, Vidushaha, 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 Vidushaha. Now even that in the same way. Apitata, 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 apitata. Okay, firmly established. Arudaha, 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 arudaha. Fear of death or clinging to life. Abhinivesa, 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 abhinivesa. Let's try 2 words together. We'll see how we do, okay? Svarasavahi vidusha, Svarasavahi vidusha, Svarasavahi vidusha, Svarasavahi vidusha. Now we'll put 2 words already are together, api and tata, and we're going to add arudaha to that one. Api tattarudaha, api tattarudaha, api tattarudaha, api tattarudaha. Now abhinivesa. Abhinivesa, 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 Abhinivesa. Let's try the whole sutra. Just do your best, right? So no fear of failing either. We don't need to have fear of failing. That's another, very contemporary fear. I think fear of survival must have come first, way back in primitive times. Now we have fear of failing. So let's have no fear of failing. We're going to just do our best. So the full sutra. Svarasavahi vidusha pitatarudaha binivesha. 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 See how that sits for you. And then please raise your hands to your heart. So may we not have the fear, this fear of failure, fear of being found out, fear of inauthenticity, fear of being an imposter when actually we're just doing our best to be who we are. May we not live in that kind of fear of such things. Because life is asking us to be here and to be present in the flow of life as it is occurring, such that when the time comes, we won't look back and wonder if we'd had ever been present to what was most important to us. As I think Mary Oliver said in one of her poems, she didn't want to look back and be disappointed. She wanted to know that she'd been a bridegroom to amazement in her whole life, right? So may we have a sense of perspective here about the finite nature of our life and treat it with its due respect. We're going to keep practicing, right? As always, if you benefited from this practice, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. I'll see you next time. Namaste.